Welcome to the deep dive. This is where we really try to get into some compelling sources and pull out the core knowledge for you.
That's the plan.
And today, we're doing something a little different, stepping way back into ancient Egypt. We're looking at Anubis.
Right, but not just the history lesson version.
No, exactly. We're using a specific modern text, Anubis, Echoes of Timeless Wisdom, to see, well, how these ancient ideas might actually work as a practical guide for us now.
And that's really the mission here, isn't it? To get beyond the museum artifact idea.
Yeah.
The source we're looking at argues that wisdom that lasts this long, millennia, it probably holds some universal truth. So we're distilling that for its application today. Utility, psychological resonance, not really the ancient worship aspect.
I have to say, I find that premise really compelling, this idea of the ancient world resonating now, the echoes of the past.
Yeah.
It sort of suggests that our core anxieties are big life changes.
Yeah.
They're fundamentally the same as they were thousands of years ago, just, different clothes.
Well, it proves this wisdom still matters, doesn't it? The core themes, handling change, dealing with fear, maintaining integrity, they're just foundational human stuff.
They don't really change.
They don't.
Yeah.
And when an influence sticks around this long, you have to see it as this enduring inspiration. We're basically looking for a blueprint for navigating life, drawn from a figure who guided souls through, well, transitions, death, yes, but metaphorically, big life shifts for us.
Okay, so let's unpack that. Let's get practical right away. Anubis as a modern guide. How does this figure, the psychopomp, the guide for souls, how does that translate to helping us with, say, modern challenges?
The first big thing the source points to is really the need to face uncertainty. Just face it, head on.
Okay.
Anubis operates in that liminal space, right?
Yeah.
The doorway between what was and what's next. So the wisdom is pushing us towards embracing the mysteries.
Which means?
Which source defines pretty clearly as facing the unknown. In our world today, everything's about data, control, immediate answers.
So absolutely, we demand certainty.
We do. And this ancient idea offers a radical counterpoint. It suggests that real peace actually starts when you accept what you can't control.
You see that pressure constantly, don't you? Career changes, global uncertainty, even just the flood of information online. The instinct is often to, well, panic or just freeze up.
Right. But this guide figure suggests the opposite. When you hit that void of, I have no idea what comes next, acknowledging the mystery itself brings a certain clarity. You stop wasting energy fighting it.
And you start focusing on the journey through it instead.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The wisdom says the unknown isn't an enemy you defeat, it's a passage you navigate.
And while speaking of passages, there's none bigger than major life transitions. This feels like where the historical role gets really metaphorical for us.
Definitely.
The source talks about honoring the transition and links it directly to dealing with death. Now, I can see some listeners thinking, wait, comparing losing my job to death? That sounds a bit much.
That's a totally fair point. And the text kind of anticipates that. It shifts the focus.
Yeah.
It's not about equating the event itself, but about the level of respect needed for the process.
Respect for the process.
Yeah. When a big phase ends, a long career, a way you identified yourself, a relationship, and you often just want to jump to the next thing, gloss over the ending.
Sweep it under the rug.
Kind of. Honoring the transition means treating that ending with the same seriousness, the same ritual acknowledgement that the ancients gave to, well, death.
So it's about giving yourself permission, maybe, time and space to actually close that chapter properly?
Precisely. It's like a ritual of completion. If you don't honor the transition, you end up dragging the ghost of that old phase into the new one. The ancient idea demanded acknowledgement, respect for what's past, and then preparation for what's coming. Applied today, maybe it's just taking a quiet moment before starting a new role, or creating some small symbolic act to mark the end of an old habit or mindset.
Okay, I see.
The wisdom is, a respected ending helps ensure a stable new beginning.
That completely shifts the perspective, doesn't it? Instead of fearing change or resisting it, the wisdom encourages, well, resilience, but also acceptance of the passage itself.
Yeah. The guide isn't there to stop the change. He's there to make sure you're ready, prepared to walk through it with integrity.
With integrity, yeah.
And that preparation, that leads directly into the next idea. If you're going to embrace mystery, you need some inner armor to handle it.
Right. That sets us up perfectly for the next theme then. We're shifting from accepting the big unknowns to, actively supporting ourselves day to day, building security and stability.
Exactly. And if you look at Anubis symbolically, he's often linked with Milat's, truth, balance, order.
The scales.
Right, the scales. That's the source of this inner armor. The concept here is seeking protection, which the source translates into the practical outcome of finding a shield.
A shield. Okay, but what does that shield look like today? It's not literal, obviously.
Well, no, it's not a physical thing. It's more like an impenetrable structure built from your intellect and your morals, your values.
Can you give an example? Like, how does that work in a modern context?
Sure. Think about navigating, say, the online world today. So much misinformation, extreme views everywhere.
It's overwhelming.
It is. Your shield, then, is your commitment to critical thinking, to intellectual honesty. It's having clear personal boundaries that are rooted in your deepest values. If your core values are solid, if your internal scale of ma'at is balanced, then the external chaos can't fundamentally destabilize you.
So the protection comes from self-knowledge, integrity.
That's what the wisdom implies, yes. That's the protection no one can take away from you.
I like that. It's not about waiting for help. It's about building your own psychological and intellectual defenses based on truth and connecting to that security. How does this wisdom bring comfort, that inner peace aspect?
Well, the source material moves from security to solace. It talks about finding inner peace and emphasizes he brings comfort.
Okay, but what kind of comfort?
It's not necessarily like a warm, fuzzy feeling. It's the comfort that comes from certainty in your own integrity. You face the unknown. You've honored the transition. You've built your shield of values. The peace that results is sort of the reward for living that examined life.
Ah, I see. So the comfort isn't that problems disappear.
No, not at all.
It's the confidence that you have the internal resources, the wisdom, the structure to actually handle whatever comes up.
Exactly that. When you feel protected by your own internal framework, those smaller day-to-day anxieties, maybe burnout at work, difficult relationships, they don't vanish, but they diminish. They have less power over you.
Because you have a stable core.
Yes. The guidance moves from that big philosophical challenge of acceptance to establishing practical, everyday psychological stability, protection, then peace. The comfort comes from knowing you have the tools to endure.
Endure. That leads us right into the final piece, doesn't it? The whole idea of growth, of transformation. This discussion makes it clear it's an ongoing thing, not a destination.
Yeah.
We're talking about the path of transformation, which the source puts very simply. The journey continues.
And if the journey, the transformation, is perpetual, what's the one quality you absolutely need? Endurance.
Right.
This is summed up as the symbol of resilience, and the really specific takeaway here is learning to endure.
Resilience is a buzzword now, though. How does this ancient idea differ from, say, modern self-help talk about grit or perseverance?
That's a good question. Modern ideas often focus on output, right? Pushing harder, achieving more, bouncing back quickly.
Yeah, bounce back.
This ancient concept of endurance feels more internally focused. It demands constant self-assessment, like the heart always being weighed against Ma's feather.
Okay.
True endurance, in this view, involves the humility to know when you need to adjust your course, the strength to keep your moral balance even when things are tough, and the commitment to actually learn from every transition, not just survive it.
So it's not just getting through hardship.
No, it's evolving because of it.
That adds a much deeper layer to resilience. Wow. So if we pull it all together, dealing with the past, honoring those transitions, finding comfort through integrity, seeking protection within, and then fostering this continuous, evolving endurance, it really does feel like a complete map.
It does. A map for living an examined life, a continuous life, even when change is constant and inevitable.
Which it always is.
Which it always is. And if we connect this back to the start, it kind of explains why Anubis' influence, or at least these ideas associated with him, they feel so relevant. This cycle, radical acceptance, building security, perpetual transformation, that's what inspires forever. The message is universal, really. Transitions are guaranteed, true protection is internal, and endurance is what fuels growth.
This has been genuinely insightful, a proper deep dive. We've basically established that this ancient wisdom, viewed through a modern lens, offers a pretty robust map. A map for embracing mystery, honoring tough transitions, finding inner security, and building that sustainable resilience.
Yeah, a guide for navigating change.
A timely guide for sure, given how fast everything moves now.
And maybe this brings us to the final thought, the question for you, the listener, drawing just from what we've discussed today.
Okay.
If the path of transformation is always ongoing, this continuous journey, and this ancient wisdom serves as the symbol of resilience, what does that suggest about how we measure timeless wisdom in our own lives? Is the real value in the amount of knowledge you accumulate? Or is wisdom actually measured by your ability to perpetually endure and perhaps more importantly, evolve through every single transition you face?
That's a powerful question to reflect on, something to carry forward. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into these echoes of the past. We hope these insights might serve as a useful modern guide for you. We'll talk to you next time.